The ship was called Unsinkable, yet it was already dying. A silent ocean stretched black and endless, stars frozen above steel decks. In its final hours, which choices truly sealed the Titanic's fate? In April 1912, RMS Titanic sailed from Southampton to New York on her maiden voyage. She was the largest moving object ever built, a symbol of modern power and human confidence. On the night of April 14, she struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank less than 3 hours later. This story still matters because Titanic did not fail for one reason. According to investigations, it was a chain of human decisions, design limits, and missed warnings. Understanding those final hours helps us understand how systems fail even when they seem unbeatable. Titanic leaves Southampton on April 10, 1912, stopping in Cherbourg and Queenstown before heading west. On board are more than 2,200 passengers and crew, divided by class, language, and access. The ship carries state-of-the-art technology for its time, including wireless radios and watertight compartments. By April 14th, the ship enters known iceberg waters. Throughout the day, multiple ice warnings arrive from nearby ships. These messages are received by wireless operators and logged, but not all reach the bridge with urgency. The ship continues at near-top cruising speed. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts spot an iceberg directly ahead. The warning bell rings. The bridge orders a turn and engines reversed. Titanic avoids a head-on collision but scrapes along the iceberg's side. Beneath the waterline, damage spreads across multiple compartments. Within minutes, the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, inspects the damage. He calculates that 5 watertight compartments are breached. Titanic can survive 4. The ship is mathematically doomed. At 12:05 a.m., the order is given to prepare lifeboats. There are only enough boats for about half the people on board, a number compliant with outdated maritime laws. Many passengers do not yet believe the ship is in danger. Early lifeboats leave half empty. Crew members follow evacuation rules that are unclear and unevenly enforced. Some officers prioritize women and children, but interpret this differently. Time is lost, and capacity is wasted. At 12:25 a.m., distress signals are sent. Titanic uses rockets and wireless calls for help. Nearby ships respond unevenly. The closest vessel, the Californian, does not arrive in time, reportedly due to radio silence and misinterpreted signals. As the bow sinks deeper, the ship's angle increases. Water spills from compartment to compartment over internal bulkheads. This design flaw, known later, accelerates the flooding. The ship's fate is now irreversible. At 2:18 a.m., a short circuit shut off the lights. Darkness swallowed the deck. Moments later, the Titanic broke in two. The ocean closed over it. In total, it took 2 hours and 40 minutes for the greatest ship on Earth to disappear. The water temperature was 2 degrees C. At that temperature, a human body lasts less than 30 minutes. More than 1,500 people died. Most survivors were women and children. Captain Edward Smith was seen helping others until the very end. The Titanic was not just a ship. It was a symbol, a statement, proof that humans had finally conquered the sea. Built by Harland and Wolff, a company that had already constructed more than 500 ships, Titanic was their masterpiece. It was operated by the White Star Line, a company with experience running over 100 vessels. Even the captain was legendary. Edward John Smith, with 40 years of sailing experience, was in command. And yet, none of them saw what was coming. After successful sea trials, the Titanic was marketed around the world with a powerful claim: the unsinkable Titanic. Tickets sold instantly. First-class passengers paid prices that would equal hundreds of thousands today. Everyone wanted to be part of history, and history was waiting. It took more than 200 days to build the Titanic. Thousands of workers, millions of dollars, endless confidence. And yet, in the cold Atlantic Ocean, it took just 2 hours and 40 minutes for it to vanish forever. April 10, 1912, was supposed to be a celebration. The world's largest, most expensive, and most luxurious ship was finally ready for its first journey. No storms, no rough waves, just calm water and blue skies. Around 1,500 passengers were already on board. Thousands more stood at the dock, waving goodbye, watching history begin. No one there knew the truth. This ship had already been doomed because of 6 critical mistakes made long before it ever touched the ocean. Mistake number 1, speed over safety. At exactly 12 noon, the Titanic left Southampton. From the very beginning, the ship moved fast. The owners had given Captain Smith a clear message: reach New York by April 17th, 7 days. No delays. This was the Titanic's first voyage. Arriving late would damage its reputation. And reputation mattered more than caution. Every machine has limits. So does every ship. But the Titanic's speed limits were quietly ignored. Within hours, land disappeared. All that remained was open ocean and confidence. Mistake number 2, the warnings that went unheard. By April 14th, the Titanic had been sailing non-stop for 3 days. That evening, the ocean was calm. Too calm. A thin haze reduced visibility, making it harder to see far ahead. Then the warnings began. Other ships sent wireless messages reporting icebergs directly in Titanic's path. Not once, not twice. Experts believe at least 6 warnings were sent, but those messages were treated like background noise. The wireless operators were busy. First-class passengers wanted their messages sent. Ice warnings felt routine. They were ignored. Mistake number 3, lookouts. Without eyes, Titanic was now racing straight into iceberg territory. The lookouts were alert, focused, watching the darkness ahead. But they were missing one critical tool: binoculars. Without them, spotting an iceberg early was nearly impossible, especially on a calm night where ice blended into the horizon. The warning finally came too late. A massive iceberg, as large as a football field, was directly ahead. The bell rang. The bridge was alerted, but the distance was already gone. Mistake number 4, the wrong reaction at the wrong time. Captain Smith ordered the engines stopped. He ordered the ship to turn. He did what many experienced captains would have done, but this time, it wasn't enough. The Titanic avoided a head-on collision. Instead, the iceberg scraped along the ship's side. Above the water, damage seemed small. Below the surface, the real disaster began. Mistake number 5, a hidden weakness in the ship. Titanic was designed with watertight compartments. This made people believe it was unsinkable, but there was a flaw no one talked about. The ship's hull was held together by cast iron rivets, not steel. Cast iron is brittle. Under pressure, it snaps. When the iceberg scraped the hull, the rivets popped open, one after another. Water poured in. Titanic could survive flooding in 3 compartments, but water crossed into a 4th. At that moment, the math became fatal. The ship was going to sink. Mistake number 6, too few lifeboats, used too poorly. Captain Smith sent out distress signals. Help was requested, but help was far away. So evacuation began. Here, the final mistake revealed itself. The Titanic had space for 32 lifeboats. Only 20 were installed. Over 1,500 people. Not enough boats. And it got worse. The first lifeboat was lowered at 12:45 a.m. It wasn't full. Many boats were launched half-empty. First-class passengers were given priority. Confusion ruled the decks. If the boats had been filled properly, hundreds more might have survived. The Titanic did not sink because of one mistake. It sank because of confidence, pressure, ignored warnings, and human limits. It changed maritime laws forever. Lifeboat rules were rewritten. Ice patrols were created. Radio monitoring became mandatory. The ocean didn't defeat the Titanic. Human decisions did. The Titanic was never truly unsinkable. It only felt that way, until reality arrived. This is Story Ground, where history doesn't just tell stories, it explains them.